What's up, YouTube? Mr. Lamisi here, and today we're going to be watching the Diablo 4 dev stream. This is going to be the Season 1, also Diablo Immortal, developer stream where they talk about different news, what's coming in Season 1. Now, I, without being too dramatic, want to say this is a pretty important stream, and this is a pretty important season. The reason is because, especially nowadays, I feel like there's a lot of games pumping out, right? PoE 2's like coming with ExileCon. We've got that announcement and all this, and there's a lot that's going to be happening here. And it's kind of a market where if you don't catch everybody quickly, they move on to the next thing. And I feel like that's happened for many years, and I feel like that even happened with Diablo 3. Now, you guys know I'm not 1,000% the most like in love with Diablo 3, but I can recognize the progression that the game made along the way. However, by the time they got the game to where it is, it was too late. A lot of people had already written it off. They'd moved on to the next game, and it never, in my opinion, really recovered. Now, obviously, it still had great sales. Diablo 4 also really had great sales. All of this, so it's like, hey, they've made this money here at this point. But if they're looking for that longevity, which they talked about, they were saying, you know, we want to do seasons every 3 months. We want this to be big. We want this to be a live service game. We're going to continue to improve over the years. It seemed like they really wanted to make Diablo 4 a thing for a while. If they lose a lot of people right here, I think it's going to be tough. And so I think this first season is the most important season. Now, the tough part is they already had Season 1 shipped pretty early on, right? And now that Diablo 4 has gone through this, you know, month, oh yeah, it's been out for a month today, this month progression, I think that shows, you know, a lot of people have caught on to the ideas of where the game needs to be improved, right? I said this before, I had played a lot of the game prior to a lot of people playing the game, whether it was, you know, the betas, the closed betas, the end game beta, the, you know, first 5 days, pre-access, whatever. So I already had a couple hundred hours by the time I made my reviews, where a lot of people only had maybe 10, 15, 20 hours, whatever it was. And I think once you get into those later hours and you get to that character that hits that level 70, level 80, whatever it is, a lot of people start to realize similar ideas, right? They started to come to, and I see a lot of people posting the same sorts of things that I was posting at the start, but it just took a while because, hey, you have to hit level 80 and you have to grind that Nightmare Dungeon a few times before you're like, yeah, I just don't want to do this, whatever. So, you know, I think a lot of issues we've seen and exist now, and it's not, again, to say the game is a horrible game or anything. I think the game is still a fine game to play through, but I think right now it's kind of at that point where it's like, if you've gotten to level 80 and you've beaten the campaign and gotten some gear, a lot of people are like, all right, I'm bored and I'm done, right? The end game isn't producing an end game that's really repeatable, I feel like, and people are wanting to stick around and grind. So, again, the idea here is, will Season 1 be able to capture that, build something further into the end game, give us some changes, give us enough, or is it going to run into the issue where they just tried to like ship it out too fast, it didn't have enough with it, and honestly, like I said, by the time Season 2 rolls around, yeah, some people will start to come back, but I think you're already starting to lose a lot. And we already know they talked about like a gem tab isn't going to be around till Season 2, or moving the gems to the materials tab, I think, is what they're planning on doing. Resistances aren't going to be fixed until at least Season 2. So we already know there's multiple aspects that are, in my opinion, pretty important, and things that should probably be hot patched in, that are being delayed already. We will just have to see. And again, this is what we have with this piece. So let's
Hello.
let's dive in.
Hello.
I believe they're going to start with Diablo Immortal first, so we'll skip ahead to Diablo 4
My name
here.
is Adam Fletcher.
But we'll let them
I am
introduce
the
themselves.
community director for the Diablo franchise.
Oh, it's too big.
Got
Sorry,
some
I need to
wonderful
fix it.
people here. We just have Ron. Yeah, well,
Rod.
not part of the wonderful crew, I guess.
Yeah. He decided to insert himself as of yesterday. So.
What is the power? If you have power, you should use it whenever possible, and I've decided to.
So we have Rod here, who is, of course, the general manager of the Diablo
Universe.
Universe.
Yeah.
Exactly. I guess that's the best way.
All
to say
things Diablo.
We have 2 Diablo Immortal people right here.
Pierre's not
So
here now.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
I don't know if they're
and
gonna
of course
swap
we
them
have,
out later.
Chris Liao
but
Lead
like I
UX
said-
designer on Immortal.
all right,
and Jackson. There
It's
you
because
go.
I'm older.
I'm actually gonna push through
A
because
little over a week away.
Exactly.
Sounds like there might have been some encoding issues.
Exactly. Yeah, I know that
There
some
we go.
people are talking
I'll
about
boost there.
there's a little bit of hitching on it and so forth. I will say that we actually
you want the
do have
Diablo
that
Immortal
trailer,
news,
that will be on a
I'm
blog on
sorry.
DiabloImmortal.com immediately
you
after
can go
this.
find it somewhere
who,
else.
through means of an ancient ritual, has that curse of thraldom arrested inside them, frozen essentially in place.
Can I just say I love this dude's passion? Yeah, he's doing Diablo Immortal content and whatever, but oh my god, look at the passion on this guy.
Is a person who, through means of an ancient ritual, has that curse of thraldom
He's
arrested
shaking.
inside them, frozen essentially in place.
Wow.
They get some advantages, pause. So basically what happens is a Blood Knight, also preternaturally strong and fast, can see in the dark, can smell blood from a mile away, doesn't age anymore, as you've seen in the concept art, very, very fancy.
Art is gorgeous. Type of abilities is what I'm hearing.
All right, so it looks
if
like
you got
there's a
ton of
new
mobs in front of
class
you, especially
in Diablo
if the
Immortal.
daggers are ricocheting and coming out on the 13th and the Blood Knight.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought that was Diablo 4 for a second when it
Their
was
primary
showing
attack
it.
skills and so forth.
Not
like
that
what kind
fight, the
you
other
can
one.
see kind of like life from
I was
others.
like, oh,
Essentially
Diablo 4.
replenish their life while they're in combat.
The same experience to go and test drive all the different.
You did too, don't lie.
Exactly. So you'll be able to try out different skills and legendary essences.
You can approach the content, which is a
May we fight true.
Ooh, hold on. You like
Thank you
cutscenes.
guys very much, and congratulations.
Thanks so much,
thank you.
Rod.
Let's
We're
watch
stoked.
the cutscene.
And we're going to be now switching over to D4 content. We're actually going to take like a really short break because we got to swap people in. This room's only so big.
Okay, so it was, yeah,
we
I
also
was
need
thinking.
mics off of people and everything. But we're going to be swapping in into our Diablo 4 segment. So we'll see you here in a minute or so.
All right, now we bring in the Diablo 4 people.
Din honon exousia.
Cutscenes are always 10 out of 10.
Exousia.
Yeah, this is from campaign. Just things.
May we fight true in his holy name. Blessed be the light.
Wait.
Well, you are technically back. I mean, you were in other.
The rest is
All right, here we go. Hey, they got Joe.
surprise.
Maybe you should actually introduce people.
Yes,
Or?
I will introduce people. We are now joined by our wonderful Diablo 4 developers. We have Tim Ismay. May I introduce you?
Hello, Tim Ismay. I'm one of the lead producers on Diablo 4, specifically focused on seasons. I say that because if you ask me questions outside of the seasons context, I have no idea what's going on.
And you said plural.
You said
Wait,
plural.
there's more than one
I
season.
was trying to build more than one.
I feel like they should
There's
have
more than one
an idea
season.
what's going on.
That's going to be, we're revealing that.
Or that's job security right there.
I'm actually just asking for it. Yeah.
Wait, we're supposed to be thinking about job security?
And we have a familiar face.
Joey P.
Yes, I'm Joe Pipora. I'm the Associate Game Director for the live service, and I'm excited to talk about Season 1 today, at last.
But first.
But first.
Oh, but first. That's right.
Because Adam has built everything possible to talk about except the season.
right,
We can never start talking about seasons until we talk about something else first. But there are cool things to actually talk about.
Correct.
Let's see what we got.
We obviously, it's been a little over a month since Diablo 4's launched.
It's only been a month.
Is it? Well, if you include
No, but you're right.
access.
It is.
Yeah.
I always, the amount of feedback we get about, like, hey, this thing, and you're like, it's been like 5 weeks. Like,
Exactly.
give us a second.
Exactly.
So,
It has been a month, a little bit more than a month, since Diablo 4 has
wait,
actually
how did you
launched.
guys get a season done in 4 weeks? That's incredible.
We started it well before the game launched.
that's smart.
We actually released it.
We're extremely good at our job.
Wait, so you
I don't want to get in
started
the weeds,
before
everybody.
the game
I don't
launched?
want to get in the weeds, everybody, but like we did start before the game launched to make sure that we could actually release.
I thought you were just going to say
something.
zombies are really easy to make, and so therefore it was.
Yeah,
Oh my
obviously
God.
that's what it is. Okay.
Diablo
Also, people
Immortal
are
guy
saying
was
that your mic is
crushing it. I
low,
loved him.
Mr. Joey P.
My
no.
mic
Yeah,
is low.
so I don't
Okay.
know if
I'll
we'll
bring it in a little
we'll
bit.
fix that. I promise. Live broadcast, everyone.
I
Live
can
broadcast.
project everybody.
Yeah,
That's
he
what's
can-
going to take.
He can start screaming.
Just scream at everybody.
Man, you haven't seen
So,
Joey P
interrupted.
scream.
So
Sorry.
you're talking
Sorry,
about the 5 week. I was just shocked by the 5 week thing. But anyway, so yes, it's been 5 weeks.
Obviously it's been 5 weeks since we launched. We've had numerous updates to the game, hot fixes, patches. We actually had a campfire chat in between where we talked about even a big update that was coming before season 1.
13-page.
Yes,
patch
13
notes?
page. Which people are like, well, that must have been like 14 font, double spaced. And I'm like, maybe it was. But it still was very big. It was like 11 pages on the actual site. But we've addressed a lot of feedback and everything.
Tell me things.
Related to the game. We still have more feedback that we're actually going to be addressing. And I will say that later this afternoon, there is going to be another patch, climb patch. Surprise, spoilers, or announcement. We will have patch 104. That's going to be hitting all platforms later this afternoon. There will be patch notes posted this afternoon. Very much not as chonky as 103, but it does address additional feedback and issues that people have been reporting over to us in the actual patch notes.
Come on, put you on the spot.
Funny enough, did I actually have this printed out?
Yeah, I will.
I don't think you can say that 1.04 is coming this afternoon and not give an example
right.
of something we're fixing in 104.
I know that they are actually doing a gameplay fix in regards to, or a gameplay adjustment to Helltide chests, so that Helltide chests will now actually drop unique items.
Yeah, have the chance to drop unique items, but yes.
Sorry. Have the chance, not like a guarantee.
So it's relaxing, right?
Now that's quoted. And
That's
I'm
the
just like,
juiciest thing in the patch so far. Come on.
Okay, that sounds stupid for me as the GM to go like, I thought they already could drop uniques with Helltide chests, so I was mistaken there.
Yeah. It's so there are some content types that the rewards are not dropping like unique items from it. So like Whisper bounty caches, for example, don't have a chance to drop unique items when you turn in for those.
Didn't know that either.
Yeah, but I think if there's opportunities for us to continue to like try to expose this
Rad,
more, to
man.
talk about these things moving forward. But yeah, this is an opportunity now. We want to make sure that when players are trying to target farm for certain kinds of uniques for their builds they need to grab in order to bring those things online, that those Whisper caches really can be used as a way to or not Whisper caches, the tortured gifts you can get from the Helltides events. Those are really good opportunities to go and try to go for those.
And that's this afternoon. So once 104 goes out,
Like the main villain in this game is
Uniques
Lilith.
can
He's like,
drop in.
didn't know that.
That's right. That's this afternoon.
Yep, and I will say, like, we've been getting, like we've mentioned, I think, many times already in this stream, we have been getting a lot of feedback related to bugs, issues, or even just, like, general gameplay feedback, and it's something that the team has been reading through and getting through, and those are things that, obviously, we're addressing as we get through all these different updates in the future and everything.
We're building a big backlog. Like, this is the thing, I was making the joke about they started before, like, seasons started before we launched, just to try to set expectations. Like, we're moving as fast as we can, but we have to move also safely, because if we move too fast, we can kind of vibrate the game out of stability. And so we're trying to be as reactive as we can, but in a safe way, and knowing we have a large backlog of Season 1 was already well in flight, and Season 2 is also very much well in flight. And so we're trying to make those adjustments. So we hear the feedback, so please don't take the lack of instantaneous response as in we don't hear you. We hear you. We hear about, I want to lock my inventory. We hear you about all the different types of things that you're giving us feedback on, and we appreciate that feedback, and we're doing our best to address it as quickly and as safely as possible. So, so just trying to manage expectations that sometimes it might feel, but again, it's only been 5 weeks. This is a game that we are going to, we're going to support for years to come. This is a foundation of, we said the launch was the beginning, not the end, and so we're going to be continuing to support this game through many seasons and through expansions and what have you. And so please just allow us some time to catch up and work through our backlog to get to those items that we know that you care about.
And I do want to note that we're, as we were in preseason, we were obviously shooting out a lot of updates really quickly, and this is something we talked about a little bit on the campfire chat, but we are going to get into a more systematic way of being able to update the game,
because
so
they have
like,
two teams building
a new
seasons
match type of thing, unless there's an emergency. But yeah, it's,
and then also I think two more teams building expansions,
some familiarity with how we actually update the game around seasons and climb patches that may occur, whether
if I'm not mistaken,
or only on seasons and so forth. So we'll have that actually communicated out, and people then know what to expect going forward when we do have different updates or different patches that actually do the game.
I think it's really important that we have now talked about things we did in the preseason.
Core is a lot of work.
We've made a number of changes on the balance side. We've responded to a lot of player feedback. We've got 1.04 coming out later on this afternoon. But Adam, what do the people want to hear about?
Zombies! Season 1. So we're actually now going to talk about. No, I'm just kidding. But we do want to talk about Season 1. Season 1 is coming, and we actually have a really cool trailer to show off before we jump into it. So
let's see it.
Hit zombies? It, Rich and Matt.
We're all expecting zombies, right?
I am writing to you because although a great evil is receding from Sanctuary, a new festering curse now spreads its corruption across the land. More dangerous, more malignant than I could have imagined. I have found a way to stop this plague, to rip the dark power of these monsters from their very core and turn it to our advantage in destroying them. But I cannot do this alone. My allies have fallen. My strength is dwindling. The Malignant are relentless and without mercy. I need help. I need you.
Season of the Malignant. I need more information. That doesn't.
I'm not smart enough. The first season of Diablo 4 coming out on July 20th. The season of the Malignant. Lots to talk about there. So we're actually going to jump into it. No, I'm just kidding. But obviously, a lot of people want to know what's going on. We even teased it on social media yesterday, where something was corrupting Sanctuary. I guess Tim, Joe,
okay. So
what's going on now?
So Season 1, the Season of the Malignant. So our very, very first season in the game is going to basically take place after the events of Diablo 4. So after the redacted and the redacted have happened and the player has finished redacting the redacted, once all that's out of the way, that's when things are really going to kick off in the world of Sanctuary, kind of step off from that point. Okay. And there is a new threat that's basically emerged in Sanctuary. There's this malignance, there's this corruption that's begun to spread throughout like the hearts of the creatures throughout the world, and that's everything from like beasts to humans to demons themselves, everything in between. Can be corrupted by this malignance as beginning to take root and fester inside inside people. And it's basically kind of like it's changing them, right? It's turning them into these bloodthirsty fiends. Effectively, they're going out and trying to destroy everything. And it's threatening Sanctuary at a very, very, very high level. The player's going to come across a new character that they're going to introduce to over the course of the season named Cormond, who we actually saw in the trailer there. Cormond is, there he is. Cormond is an ex-member of the Cathedral of Light. He used to be a priest of the Cathedral of Light. And he's taken it upon himself to start trying to dive deeper into this new malignant threat that's risen over the course of these days following the events of Diablo 4's main campaign. But he's finding himself maybe a little out of his depth. You say, Tim? Like, what do you think about Cormond?
Yeah, he's trying to fix the problem on his own, and then I think when he's not 100% successful, he comes to the player and says, "Hey, you were really helpful in the past. Could I get a hand from you?" So that's kind of where things start.
Yeah, he's very. I think that you'll find like he's a person. Everything in the room is on fire, but he's sitting there like, "I can fix it. We can find a way to solve this, right?" But he's a great new character that the player get introduced over the course of the season. But that's really just where things kick off. Now, and players will start the season of Malignant actually in Kyovashad. And they're going to gain access to the beginning of the story of the season pretty much right away. So you're able to start off right at level 1, like jumping out of the gate and be able to start like following the thread of this new season storyline.
And we're going to talk about the transition from the current Eternal Realm into the season afterwards. We're going to get through the season information first.
Yeah.
Well, then I know people are really curious about what happens to my current character. How do I think about that transition? But we'll get to that after we get through
know what the season has.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So that's the kind of like the high level, like what's happening in the world of Sanctuary.
Theme, right? We have a seasonal theme with a seasonal
corruption.
Story. What about the mechanics?
COVID. They got COVID.
On top of the theme, there's usually the seasonal mechanics. So what's the mechanics that we're looking at?
We're trying to add more stuff to seasons that appeal to everything that a player does in Diablo 4. So we are adding story, the elements of what you're going to find out about what is actually happening to Sanctuary. But then we want things that are new challenges for the player, things that you can fight that maybe you haven't fought before, as well as new powers, things that you can build your character in a different way, a different direction than maybe you did in any previous season, or in this case in the preseason when you had just the Eternal Realm. So hitting all of those notes, we're starting with a mechanic around the threat. So what is the threat? The Malignant. We've been talking about it a lot. Mm-hmm. Where does the Malignant actually show up? That actually shows up throughout the entire game. Yep. When you're playing in the world of Sanctuary, anytime you encounter any elite monster, there's a chance that it will spawn as a malignant version of that monster. So that malignant version is going to have these growths on it and some additional power. After you kill it, a heart will actually appear, the exposed malignant heart that was causing this. If you then interact with that heart by using a cage of binding, it now starts a ritual where it's pulling all the malignants in and a new, even more powerful version of that elite is spawned.
Yep.
Why would you want this? How does this help you? Well, if you can manage to beat that even more powerful version where you see these other minions are now helping it, these other malignant creatures, now it drops the caged heart. You've actually put all of that malignant power into this cage that is an item that you can use that is kind of like a gem. It's like a gem in the sense that you can socket it into gear. It is very much not like a gem in the sense that it has an enormous amount of power. Think of a legendary item, the kind of power that's in there. It's like that, maybe even a little bit more than that. So you can take these malignant hearts, you can socket them into your jewelry, and that gives you these kind of stupid new broken builds that are hopefully balanced, but they are extremely powerful. So these are new options of how you can play the game.
Yeah, so this is really, really cool, right? So one of the things we really want to do with each season.
So gems are now worthless, it seems, right? It's just a legendary. I mean, it's Abyss League, but like with less. So it does seem like they're going a little bit PoE light there. You know, just like, I mean, again, we don't know all of the stuff that's going to happen. You can only socket it into jewelry? Is that what he said? Okay. Oh, I missed that. Well, man, I've got such important... Oh, the socket. Never mind. So now it's just a legendary aspect that you're rolling on your item again. But it's just the form of a gem. Not crazy.
To Tim's point is we want to make sure that we're providing new ways for players to engage with Diablo 4. New problems for them to solve, new ways for them to customize their characters and kind of do new cool stuff.
Right.
And that's what Malignant Hearts and the powers associated with Malignant Hearts really allow us to do. So one of these things, so yes, you can take a Malignant Heart that you've managed to collect from one of the consumed that you managed to kill, one of these super malignant creatures that you've killed this way, and you can socket them into your gear. We have over 30. We have 32 new. I'm not gonna say like over 30. We have 32 new malignant powers.
You know exactly. All right, so let's see. Can be inserted into Vicious malignant sockets found in jewelry. Once inserted, hearts can be replaced but not removed. Critical strikes electrically charge the enemy for 2.89 seconds, causing lightning to arc between them and any other charged enemies, dealing 64 lightning damage. It has a level on it. Okay.
Technically, it's 32. So we have 32 new malignant powers are going out this way. These are new legendary power-like abilities. You can see this one here: critical strikes, electrically charge to creatures for a set amount of damage.
Yeah, put that in that garbage ring.
There's a lot of really powerful things like this that you'd be able to kind of like interact with over the course of time. But each of the malignant hearts are...
Oh my god. Look at how big that text is on that. If you get, not only has 3 aspects, or 3 affixes, put a 4th affix on that, and then also put a legendary, that thing's going to be the whole screen and more.
Collecting are actually like a category. They're associated with a color. So if like, brutal hearts, for example, or like have a blue color to them. And they'll only go in infested sockets you'll find on rings and jewelry during the season of the Malignant of a matching color.
I see.
So when you're hunting for when you're finding new amulets and rings or gambling at the opals vendor, whatever it is you want to do, you're kind of looking for specific socket colors.
Or if you're getting a unique ring from the new Helltide chest rewards as you're playing from the one.
That's right. If you happen to luck out and get Mother's Embrace because you need another Mother's Embrace, then yes, you can absolutely.
One will never do. But what's interesting, so there's 3 different types of color sockets. Yes.
There's 3 different types of colored sockets, but there's 4 different types of malignant hearts.
Yes. Go on.
Well, okay, I guess I will. So the last malignant heart type is called basically a raffle. So
okay. Oh, so now you can see the socket is orange or blue. So now you have to socket the right color into the right color. Okay.
Extremely powerful malignant heart type. They're very, very rare to find. They will fit in any colored socket as you go.
Okay, and they have
and you kind of want a combination of all of these. So even though the Wrathfuls are pretty strong, you're really only looking to probably have 1 or 2 of these based on what you might actually need for your build, over the course of time. So it's fun, really want to be able to experiment with, again, creating these different problems for players to solve, different ways for players to engage with things, and really change up that experience by virtue of adding these new powers. They can unlock different builds potentially for classes, to Tim's point, and just basically be like a really fun, exciting new way for players to kind of inject new power into the experience.
But you're looking for so can the jeweler, when the jeweler right now can add a socket to, a piece of jewelry? Are they able to add colored sockets, or are those only
found? You can't choose the color, but anytime a ring would roll with a socket when the season of Malignant starts, it's always going to have a color associated with it. There's not you couldn't get just a regular jewel socket.
But even a jeweler created one? If I have a ring with no socket, when I do the jeweler, it'll be colored?
It'll always be colored. Yeah, it'll always be an infested socket in this way.
Got it.
Yeah.
But that's true for unique. So if I'm looking for I have a unique ring, like you talked about, but I want the blue version. I could find a unique with the red socket, and I could find it with a yellow socket. So I'm looking for blue. So there'll be multiple versions of the uniques as well, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
So yeah, fun new stuff to look forward to, and that's just, I mean, we showed in the video earlier, like the player fighting a malignant creature. There's a chance for, as Tim pointed out, like there's a chance for all kinds of elites out there in the world to be malignant in nature, which makes them a little bit more powerful. But then when you kill them and you go and you actually use the Cage of Binding to capture their heart, then you fight that super consume, the consume version. It's like that's gonna be like buffing nearby monsters. It spawns a bigger combat in that scene. There's more to look forward to, and those get tougher and tougher. And you want to fight higher and higher level versions of those in higher world tiers to get even better versions of those hearts.
Yeah, so you can get stronger versions of the hearts as you get further into the game, and you might be thinking like, okay, does that mean like the old, like the crappy hearts that I got earlier, are those useless? You can actually break those down at the crafter as well to get a crafting material out of them that allows you to craft new items, including invokers. So invokers are something that you can use a little bit further on once you finish the campaign of Season 1. You will unlock the ability to go and use these at a specific place called a Malignant Tunnel. So if you are
By the way,
trying to...
That's also the name of my colonoscopy.
Okay.
There we go. And...
It's a serious thing when you're over 50. You should know that.
That's
a good point. So if you have a malignant tunnel, you should get yourself checked out.
So in the world of Sanctuary, when we say Malignant Tunnel, we mean, hey, I'm a player and I actually want to get more of these hearts, but it's just a random chance on elites out in the world. Where can I intentionally find more of them? There are these Malignant Tunnels. So there are actually places across the world where the Malignance is meant.
How do I have to refresh to catch up to the latest? I thought it would automatically catch up.
That I got earlier, are those useless? Now in these new dungeons. So if you specifically want to go find more Malignant hearts, you can hunt down these tunnels. You can go in and hey, there are more Malignant there. So there's a higher chance of finding Malignant monsters there. And if you want to guarantee it, man, I really need a very specific type of Malignant heart. How do I make that even more likely? That's when you take your crafted invoker, you go all the way to the end of a Malignant tunnel, and you can use it on a Malignant
It's really hard to hear him over the...
It now spawns that specific type of Malignant. It's going to have the color associated with it of the heart you're trying to find. You kill that, and you're going to get the specific heart. So there's a little bit more targeted farming you can do as you approach the end game of Season 1.
Actually, I have go to the C video. It will be able to show you going into an Evoker event where you can go in and sort of, which I've heard called the turkey baster from hell, basically, is what an Evoker looks like.
It does kind of, yes. That wasn't the art direction on it, but yeah, that's where we ended up.
So yeah, at the end of these Malignant tunnels, you're going to find that there are these masses of Malignants that you're going to be able to go and interact.
Why did they level up?
Direction on it, but yeah, that's where we ended up.
So yeah, at the end of these Malignant
Why
tunnels,
does that give you level?
These
Experience.
masses of Malignants that you're going to be able to go and interact with, and each of the tunnels has a few different ones that can potentially spawn different colors of Malignant outgrowths that can spawn from those. So it gives you those opportunities to go and like really target farm, as Tim's pointed out, like certain kinds of Malignant hearts as the player is progressing through the experience. Yeah.
So when we show, like we were just showing it, you went.
Technical
show the one you were
the
just showing, because that was
dungeon
the
objective.
Okay. So basically, there's a growth. You get to the end of the tunnel. You're able to set basically, essentially, you're requesting a monster of a particular color. Yes, you're saying like, I want a blue heart. A chance to get a blue heart by trying to defeat the blue monster. Yes,
that's right. And some of these, are, like particularly later on in the experience, like the most powerful hearts you can get are going to be delivered from things like these Invoker encounters. To go and interact with. So yeah, something we're very excited about.
So basically, they use an Invoker on the one of the pods.
That's right. Yeah, the outgrowths from this Malignant mass.
Which then creates a blue monster for you to fight. You have to take that down, which will then. So does this one go through the same mechanic where
they don't show us the whole fight?
Try to capture heart to kill the harder thing.
Yeah, you'll
show me
when this thing pops up after you kill this one. You don't actually have to capture it. You're fighting the powerful version of it like immediately.
That's what I was asking. Yeah, so you don't have to do the 1-2.
That's right.
Got it. So that's nice. So it's kind of a little like the sigil crafting, where you basically, I've got a bunch of stuff I'm not using right now. I can craft it down so that I can focus what Malignant hearts I want. Because maybe my build, I know I want a brutal heart, but I haven't been running into any blue Malignants out there in the world. So now I can go into a Malignant tunnel, fight my way to the end, have an opportunity to use the Invoker to create a blue Malignant to go after its heart. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Rogers called it out.
And I know
That's all I'm here to do is summarize.
That's good.
he's like, I will take
Light?
everything
Oh, I
you
was
said,
thinking Abyss.
summarize it into 2 sentences. And I know, like, obviously with the story and so forth, there are like new, like a new boss and so forth
Yeah, there's
associated
new, but
with
we're
it.
not really talking
We're
about
not
the boss too much today,
redacted, but yes.
It's worth calling out, yeah.
It is worth calling.
There's new boss monster for players to fight over the course of the season. There are new legendary items for players to collect this season.
Correct.
There's
yes.
there's our legendary powers, I should say, for players to collect. There's new unique items for players to collect.
Now those new unique legendaries and the unique uniques. Thanks for that. Those are not just in the seasonal realm, though, right? Are those things that are also showing up in the eternal?
That's right. Those will also show up in the Eternal Realm. So
Exactly.
yeah, if you're a player who's like really trying to continue to progress your character in the Eternal Realm, there's now a few new items for you to go try to hunt for and use to kind of augment and change your build.
This is the moment where I can do the producer thing.
Okay, yeah.
So
please.
you probably saw before on the screen when we looked at the cinematic. It was awesome, and we said July 20th. Oh my God, there it is, the day it's coming out. We are actually putting out the patch a little bit earlier. So just for awareness, so everyone knows, you're going to see your game patching on July 18th. That is all of the stuff coming to you that is going to turn on July 20th.
Balance changes, the new items.
Yeah. So July 18th is actually anything that shows up on the Eternal Realm is there right away. If you just want to continue playing the game as normal on your existing characters or a new Eternal character if you want, July 18th, the new legendaries and uniques that they were just talking about will be available to you on the Eternal Realm, as well as any other improvements, balance changes, rewards changes that we've made. Those will be there right away on July 18th. July 20th, the season turns on. You can now create seasonal characters.
I think it's like going back to managing expectations. I think one of the things we've been trying to be really clear about with seasons is that it is not a continuation of the main campaign storyline. Like we've been trying to use phrases like it's a new quest line. Working with Corman to solve the Malignant is a big, is obviously the journey you're on, but it's not about the Anarius Lilith journey. It's not extending that story. It's sort of a side story inside the open world.
Yeah, it just takes place after the events of Diablo 4. But you're absolutely right. This is a new self-contained story within the season of Malignant, which is great because it just gives us it affords us a lot of opportunities to tell an exciting story and to create these new big features that kind of go along with that and support it.
So as I'm playing through that now, it would be amazing if there was some way to sort of track my accomplishments through the season. I don't know, maybe some sort of journey perhaps
you want to track your seasonal journey through some kind of feature.
I don't know if I could tee that up any higher for you. We went from golf to
golf to t-ball really fast. No, absolutely. So this is obviously with season 1 where we're going to bring out the season journey feature, which I know we talked a little bit about on stream before, but I guess it's worth maybe calling out and maybe a little bit more clarity.
Hey, look, it's this, but without redacted all over it now.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this is
no top secret.
Yeah. So this is the battle pass introducing as part of season 1, and then going into here you'll see the season journey, and again.
Okay. Complete any dungeon on your map, collect a Galavine, collect a heart.
Or to allow you to progress that chapter.
And you don't have to do all of them?
You don't have to do all of them. You have to do a subset of them in order to advance to the next chapter. I think it's really cool. So objective to objective.
Favor is used towards unlocking. Oops. Okay.
About a little bit more in a minute. But you're also, for your chapter completion moments, you're getting big drops of that favor that's going to be used like an experience point value for your battle pass. But you're also going to be getting some item rewards, and importantly, you're going to be unlocking new legendary aspects, ones that you can't normally get through the Codex of Power, through dungeon completion, and also many of our new legendary aspects we're adding in the season. If you're playing in the seasonal realm, you can collect that
in Fractured Peak. 3, complete a cellar.
For your Codex of Power.
5,
by going through the season journey. So it's a great way for you to introduce yourself to some of these new things as you're kind of playing through.
Yeah, I love this. One of the things that's hard about, for people who know Diablo 3 and its sort of journey.
Hold on, wait. Do you love this?
I love this.
Oh, that actually feels really good to hear.
I love this. The notion around, I like the fact that the subset aspect of it, because I know there are certain things. I'll pick a stupid example. It's maybe I hate cellars for some reason. I'm a cellar hater. And so I never want to complete a cellar. Then the fact that I can advance chapter 1 to go to chapter 2 without ever doing what lurks below, I think that's great, because I find you get into situations. I have other games where they're you must do this thing that you really don't want to do in order to progress. And the fact that I don't have to do that here, that I can choose a subset of things to continue my progress, I think is really smart.
Yeah, I think it's really good to hear. It's one of the things we really wanted to do is make sure that like the base example of this is we really like letting players use our fields of hatred as opportunities to kind of like progress their characters inside of the season. But we don't, and we want to include that
which is
in
the
season
PvP
journey,
fields,
which is the PvP content in the game. But we don't want to make that like a requirement that you must go do this content in order to progress your season journey. We want to give players the option to do this if they choose.
One thing I do want to call out here as well with the season journey, and I think you're going to call it out in some other places, is that it can be confusing to players initially that you go to this Battle Pass screen, you click on the season journey button. Do I have to buy the Battle Pass to get this? No. Everyone has access to the season journey. This is a base feature that everybody is engaging with. Actually, everybody has access to the Battle Pass too. You're engaging with, even if you never pay a cent, you are engaging with the Battle Pass. You're getting free stuff.
In the seasonal realm.
In the seasonal realm. Yes. Rod has always reminded me to say, like, in the seasonal realm, this stuff exists. There is no season journey if you're not in the season. That's very important. It only exists there. There's no Battle Pass if you're not in the season.
Right.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. So yeah, that's the essentially the way the season journey works. Those final objectives, those final chapters are really, really tough to complete. You can get some like special like cosmetics, like special like title and things towards the end of that path. So we're excited to see players like engage with it and for us to continue to support it in future seasons.
And so we saw that the season journey grants you a lot of favor to go towards your battle pass, but you also earn favor just out in the world killing stuff. And
that's right. Anything that's like killing monsters, completing like whispers and dungeons and things, like all of these things will be earning you favor as you kind of play through the season.
Right.
So anything that's getting you experience.
All right. So what I want to see is how they fixed up the potential of being able to buy all the tiers and then have things.
Experience points as your chance to get that favor as well.
So if you have never played the campaign yet, like you're about to buy the game for the first time with the season, for example,
right?
I'll be like, okay, I'm going to roll a seasonal character. I'm going to play the campaign. The fact that while I'm playing the campaign, I'm killing stuff, and I'm still earning favor. Like this stuff is still sort of progressing in the background, right?
That's absolutely correct.
I just won't run into any Malignant until I finish the campaign.
That's absolutely right. But you will, as you play, if you make a new character, to your point, Rod, on the seasonal realm, and you're playing through the campaign, you will be earning favor as you're killing monsters and doing things during the campaign. But a lot of those, and you can also progress your season journey, but some of those objectives might require you to go and interact with season features that aren't available until after you finish the events of the Diablo 4 main campaign.
And that's probably one of the big things to be clear about. I know we're going to talk about the transition later, but in terms of getting access to the mechanic, the
will
idea
never
of
have a screen that looks like
man,
that.
capturing malignant hearts, having rings with colored socket or jewelry with colored sockets, that stuff all takes place post-campaign.
That's correct.
And so if you haven't beat the campaign yet, you're not going to run into these seasonal mechanics.
Yeah, you won't fight malignant creatures, for example, while you're going through the campaign on the seasonal realm, but you will shortly thereafter. So one of the things you can do, and I know we're going to talk about this, and we keep saying we're going to talk about this, and then we talk about it anyway. But like, so I would say, like, one of the things you can do to get ready for the season is to make sure you finish your campaign playthrough. Diablo 4, jump in. You can choose to skip campaign when you make your new seasonal character, and dive right into the seasonal story and content immediately.
And that's forevermore. That's one thing we tried to say is that once you complete the campaign,
one time, you never have to do it again.
One character, one
for every
time.
Season moving forward, for any character you create moving forward, you can skip campaign and start off in Kyovashad level 1 off. Well, and
not always Kyovashad, but yes.
Is that the only thing that we can be doing to prepare for season 1?
We should get to the battle pass. So the favor. So you have favor flowing because you're playing the game.
Because you're playing the game, because you're doing your season journey objectives, you're getting even more.
And I was going to say you're getting more, and the favor is really flowing because I'm completing the season journey objectives, and so that favor is feeding into your progress on the battle pass. Whether you've chosen to just have the free battle pass or whether you've chosen to upgrade it to a premium battle pass. Correct?
That's absolutely correct.
So can we go back to the screen because I think it's one of the things. What we highlight here is part of the thing is kind of we use the term. Why would I want to complete the battle pass? One of the reasons you would want to complete the battle pass is you could look like this.
Yeah.
And by completing the battle pass in terms of the mount armor, the armor that the characters are wearing, and so. Did you want to talk a little bit about
kind
of the stuff?
So one of the things that's really cool about a lot of the items in the battle pass. There are these really exciting like armors to chase for the characters. There are like fun new emotes to go chase for different classes, and we have even things like the like what we're showing off here, like the Artisan's Tunic. We have some things that are like these. And this is actually one of our free cosmetics. Actually, is this the things are like a little bit lower fantasy that you can use to kind of like role play different.
The red shirt.
kind of themes out for your characters, just give you more options. And we have like our bigger stuff like this, like this is like the Awoken Cold Iron stuff is like some of like the like real chase armor cosmetics that exist at the end of the end of the battle pass.
It's one of the things that, like, if you notice either the role-playing armor, like the artisan tunic or the helmet, is that one of the big things about the battle pass is that
they're like, but in the free one, we'll give you a red shirt. Chase Cosmetics.
Like the shop, the battle pass, all of the cosmetics are class agnostic. So we have a preview for all 5 classes, so you can see what it looks like on a barbarian, what it looks like on a druid, what it looks like on a necromancer, and those sorts of things. And that's one of the nice things about the battle pass is everything you're earning on the battle pass, class agnostic.
Yeah, for those transmogs.
The exception is the transmog weapons. There are transmog weapons on there that are class specific, just because classes
can only use
certain
specific.
weapons. So if your class can equip that weapon, then you have access to it. Just to reinforce, I think
when's my game coming out? We're going to try and have a demo by end of
the battle
month.
pass if you pay to upgrade it to the.
Hopefully by the time, because this comes out season 720, so hopefully by the time you're done with season 1, 721, 722, around there, 725 maybe if you take a few days. Then we'll have Llama RPG demo, and you can come check that out.
Premium Battle Pass, what you're gaining access to are a bunch of additional cosmetic things.
Yeah.
So the only thing you're getting access to by paying is that additional cosmetic unlock. So there's really, really cool stuff, some on the early end, and then especially on the tail end of it, that's what you're buying into.
Are there red shirts in Llama RPG?
Keep going. I'm getting ready to transition.
Okay. The free version
I know where I want to go after you.
Still has some very cool unlocks. And anything related to, well, you wanted to talk more about blessings, right?
Well, that's what they're saying with the free side. Like, so we were saying there's 27 free tiers in the Battle Pass, and part of those 27 free tiers are Smoldering Ashes that you can get based on.
Okay, here we go. So, again, I'm going to try and explain this for people, but not everybody understands it because it's somehow slightly complicated. Smoldering Ashes were something that you can use to increase things like the experience gained of your character and give your character some buffs. They are on the free train of the Battle Pass, and they have a level requirement before you can get there and use them. But the idea is if you buy premium Battle Pass tiers, like I can literally just buy up to level 90, the whole thing, right? Then, as soon as my character hits that level, I can use those Smoldering Ashes. Whereas, if you compare it to someone who does not buy the tiers, they may hit that level earlier, but because they didn't pay money to unlock those Battle Pass tiers, they have to still unlock the Battle Pass tiers a little bit before they could get there. Thus, this was the initial idea of potential pay to win in the game, because the person that doesn't pay has to sit there, take time to complete quest, do these side things, collect Galavine, do whatever, so that they can level up their Battle Pass, and it'll take longer than the person who just pays through the Battle Pass and then gets it. We'll see what they say on that right now.
On the level you are in the game, and that you've progressed with favor. And what do those Smoldering Ashes get you?
So these Smoldering Ashes the player will collect the Battle Pass are, as you called out, like they're on the free track of the Battle Pass. You need to you have a character of a certain level in order to be able to actually use them. So they're kind of like, they're rate limited that way. We'll take those and you'll be able to use those and apply them to the seasonal blessings system.
See, so boost to experience earned from monster kills, amount of gold, chance of rare materials, duration of elixirs, chance of malignant hearts. So
okay, we can actually finally reveal all of these. So here are the places where, as the player is collecting these ashes, they can invest them here to give all of their characters on the seasonal realm kind of like this advantage able to carry through. So whether that is like bonus to like XP earned from monster kills, like we call out here, or things like boosting the duration of all elixirs that you're using over the course of the season.
Right, and you can looks like, I'm assuming that, I don't know if it's linear or not, but if I would assume it was linear, I can do it 4 times at 15%, so like 60% duration on elixirs, in terms of that particular, the earn or prolonging.
That's right, yeah. We want to make this just be an extra little fun little thing for players to chase as they're going through the season to kind of, help them like boost their characters up a little bit more quickly as they kind of get deeper and deeper into progression to the season and give them a few different advantages to play with while they're playing through.
So if I were to max out with my Smoldering Ashes, they're like Urn of Prolonging is where I want to invest my Smoldering Ashes. I can basically take my 30-minute elixir and make it almost a 50-minute elixir. So getting that 5% XP boost. Maybe for me, it's the extra 200 thorns and the 200 armor. Okay, that's really cool.
Yeah, and give you boosts to like get more opportunities to earn like the or better Malignant heart drops that can occur for you as you're playing.
And these are available to everyone because who's in the seasonal realm because it's part of the free track.
Yes.
And they are limited based on they're also limited based on level of the player, so that even if someone were to use tier skips, even though they might get to the tier that says free Smoldering Ashes, it doesn't actually unlock until you get to the level requirement.
Yeah.
Right. So they don't really address it. So pay to win still does exist here. Again, some of you might not consider it pay to win, but if I can level up faster, get better rare salvage, whatever stuff, get more gold from vendors faster than you, that to me is what pay to win is.
Or like for example, like the first Ash that you unlock in the Battle Pass is, I think it's tier 8, maybe.
Tier 8,
yeah. And it has a level 40 character requirement, as an example. Just to make it really, really clear, like you will be able to use this in time, but immediately, like you need to continue to progress your character and like, continue to level up, and then you'll be able to use that accordingly.
Okay, so they made it just longer for the level there. They really pushed that off. So the idea again is, if you get to these battle pass levels much earlier, then you know you're good. Again, a lot of people don't understand it, and that's fine. But it's not, again, I'm not going to sit here and try and explain it for people who can't do the math and take an understanding that if I buy tier skips, I could use these faster than you could and thus get more experience, or faster get to more experience than you. You know, whether you agree that that's pay to win or not, totally fine. Totally fine. Joseph, you're not understanding. It's okay, bro.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I kind of do my little summary thing. So basically, what we said, so we have a seasonal theme of the Malignant, which has the mechanic of capturing Malignant hearts and putting it into jewelry. We use that to complete our season's journey. Our season journey is rewarding us.
It's not like you're buying
our favor within putting
that
into the battle pass
to
get really cool cosmetics and transmogs, but also based on our level and our tier in the battle pass, we'll get Smoldering Ashes. We can use those Smoldering Ashes to apply a season's blessing, which allows us to use those urns and get sort of perks during just this season that we've unlocked.
That's correct.
So the free person's experience, if you never want to pay a cent, you are still getting a lot of power out of the season journey and the free aspect, the free unlocks on the battle pass. So this is kind of an increase in power for everybody. And then if you want to spend money, just reinforcing that, that's unlocking more cosmetics.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, like they're amazing cosmetics. I am planning to pay to unlock them myself. But there's no power that comes from them. They are transmogs. Yes. They are not actual items. It's just a transmog you can place on your armor to look cool. They don't actually cause things to light on fire.
Yeah, it's just reinforcing what we had talked about before, like even before launch and so forth, is that the battle pass itself, anything that, if you do pay for a battle pass, all the paid items are going to be cosmetics and for you. It's no pay for power.
And if you bought the deluxe or the ultimate edition, you already will have an ability to make that a premium battle pass. It still doesn't. So that's great for them. So then,
again, it doesn't affect the majority of people, and the majority of it's not even something that I super care about. But when leaderboards come around and there's race to world first level 100 and all this stuff,
one is like there's a need. So there's a question. I guess we should talk.
We're going to be speed leveling and not doing battle pass stuff. Thus,
hey, I spent a lot of time. And I know I did too. I completed all my renown objectives. I've got full everything.
It's kind of forces that.
And now I hear, I have to reroll my character in season. Do I have to go find all the altars of Lilith?
You have to pay if you want to race to world first, or you're not competing because you're getting
so I know we've talked about this in stream before, but it definitely bears repeating. So like when season 1 goes live,
Blessings don't unlock to level 40
to go basically carry over,
and level 100 is when
the fog of war that they've
I'm going
everything, all the world they've explored on their characters in each of the zones, like the Fractured Peaks and Scotsland and such. All of that's going to carry over, as well as all of the renown that you have earned from all of that, all of the exploration.
So can we bring up the screen? So basically, where we see areas discovered.
Yeah.
Let's say I've actually. Okay, we'll say this is this person.
Yeah.
So right now they've got 30 areas discovered,
40
which is
takes
worth
like
150 renown.
no time.
Right.
So what's going to happen is in the season, I'm going to have 30 areas clear inside of Kyrgyzstan, and I will have 150 renown already in the bank. And it will have unlocked whatever 150 renown will have unlocked.
Absolutely right. Yep, absolutely right. So you're going to have that, and you're also going to have already collected all of your altars of Lilith that you've got from your current account.
So the same thing here. So I will have 12 will be appearing on my map immediately, and I will have 120 renown in the bank with my other 100. So I'll have 270 renown already earned, waiting for me to claim when I fire up the season.
That's absolutely correct. So these are the advantages you get to start with, and like if you look at like all the renown you can collect from the from discovering all of the areas and from getting.
So why does that show? Hold on. Do we have to re-get all the altars here? I thought we didn't.
All of your altars of Lilith is going to get you in each of the zones. Basically,
No.
through
Okay,
the first
good.
two tiers, a little with the way
This is not a
the
good
third
example
tier,
then.
Right.
for each of the zones for renown. So you get to start with, like, if you start at level 1 on day 1 of the new season with a brand new character.
Here we go.
You'll start, and you've done all of this work with your previous characters and previous playthroughs. You'll have 5 skill points to play with, and then 5 extra potion charges. So you'll be at sitting at 9 potion charges.
At
right
level
away.
1, you'll have 5 skill points and 9 potions ready to go.
Absolutely. You just claim those things down. You're good to go for the season.
And your map reveal.
And your map.
And your
reveal.
map reveal.
So that goes back to what Tim was teeing up earlier. When we think about, hey, I'm excited about the season. I want to prepare for it. I've got, what is it? This is the 6th today?
Today's the 6th.
Okay,
Yes.
so I have 14 days.
14
I have
days.
2 weeks. What should I be doing in these next 2 weeks? And so one was, I better get the campaign done because I really want to
complete the campaign.
fight the Malignant. But now, like, if you had places to go to, like, dig deep on clearing the fog and dig deep on finding the altars, because those are going to carry into the season.
Yeah, all that stuff will carry over with you.
Okay, so then, Tim, how do I think about, I've got 5, 6 alts, my characters right now in the Eternal Realm. We're talking about carrying over progress based on how do I ensure that the progress, like the most progress character, it actually impacts my seasonal character? Like,
Yeah, Tim, tell us.
It's a great question. For various technical implementation reasons, we do actually need you to log in on existing characters to kind of self-migrate some of your data with this. So this is something that we implemented based on player feedback that we got. So we put it in as quickly as we could. It is in for Season 1, but what we need you to do, once Season 1 comes out, actually once the patch comes out, you don't even have to wait until July 20th. You can do this on July 18th, which is when the patch goes live. You should log in with characters that have the most progress. If you have a single character you played, or if you have one character that, hey, on this one character I unlocked all the altars and cleared all the Fog of War, awesome. You just have to log in with that person. When you log in with that character, all of that progress is going to be propagated across your entire account. It'll be saved as, hey, this is just unlocked for your whole account now. At that point, any character you log on, either one of your existing alts or any new character you make in Seasons will now have all of that progress. So you have to do it once, but after you've done that, it is now saved to your account.
Wait, we have to log in to? They can't just like take the current progress? Oh my god.
And just
They're
to
hurting
reinforce
to
the
get
experience
people
you're
to
gonna
play
have
right now.
If you have
Good
unlocked
Lord.
all these things, it takes a little bit of work, but if you've unlocked all of that, when you start that new seasonal character, wow, is that a lot of power. You are going to level pretty fast, because extra 5 skill points, extra 5 potions, you are ridiculously overpowered when you first start playing. Like, that is a lot of extra power.
It will accelerate you a little bit as you start.
And because that is a big caveat, like we will be reminding everyone. I'm going to be like literally screaming it from the rooftops. I know we will be posting it in our patch notes on with that.
What if I log in with a like brand new character? Like, yeah, what if I log in with the wrong character? It won't matter. It's because he said make sure you log in with your biggest character. Okay.
For the patch on the 18th, just to remind people that yes, log into your characters beforehand. Even if you log in, like if you jump into the season later on, you can log into those characters with the most amount of progress.
Well, that's that's the two things we should, because there'll probably be questions. But one is, I don't do that for whatever. I go on vacation. I'm not playing. I come back. The season started. I can still log in my Eternal Realm character and have all that progress brought to the season, yes?
Yes.
Even after the season started. So it's not like, oh, you only have 18 to 20
I thought
to
we
get it
just
those 2
had
days.
like a
Yeah,
couple days or
functionally,
something.
From this
I was
point
like,
forward,
that's so messed
anytime
up.
you ever log in on a character, it will just check like, hey, does this character have any progress that's not already credited on your account? Cool, I'm now crediting it to your account.
Okay.
And so and that's for the seasonal. So if I think about the Eternal Realm, like for example, my Necromancer has everything. I've got the full bar on Renown on all 5. Not humble bragging. That's a point of fact.
Humble bragging.
Yeah,
Not humble bragging.
absolutely.
So for the next 5 minutes, we're going to talk about
So
this.
let's talk about how good my Necromancer is. No, but all I'm saying is I have a Sork that has not had the same level of progress in the world. So after the 18th, when I log in my Necro, and all that progress gets put to my account.
What do you do if you played hardcore and you unlocked everything on a character, but that character died? You're just screwed? No way. No way. Oh my god. Bro, all the hardcore players are just gonna be like, yeah, they like go die on hardcore Lilith because they're like, whatever, I don't care about this character, I'm waiting till season 1.
When I go to log in my Sork next, even on the Eternal Realm, my Sork will now have all the progress that my Necro
Correct.
has.
Absolutely.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And let's say, like, just got really deep into this. So let's say that you've got,
I know,
you've got 2 different
we
characters.
should do some sort of
You've
dev
got-
stream where we can talk and go deep.
That's true, actually, yeah. So let's say you've got like 2 characters you play. Like one has done everything in the Fractured Peaks, has uncovered everything in the Fractured Peaks, and has uncovered like all the altars of both. You get another character who's gotten everything in Scott's Glen, who's unlocked like all the field, the Fog of War, has found all the altars of Lilith. If I log in on my Fractured Peaks character, and just by doing that, all of that credit will now be transferred to my Scott's Glen character. When I log into my Scott's Glen character, all of that credit will be applied to my Fractured Peaks characters. At that point, all of the credit of the progress I made on either of those characters has been propagated to the entirety of my account.
Right. So it becomes an and.
It's not just like it's and. It's not like the one account that has the most stuff, and then I want to log into that one. No, you want to log into every account that might have like tons of progress if they've made in different directions. Right.
And I think to just again, hey, let's talk about managing expectations. Some of you might be saying like, wow, that sounds a little clunky. And I think the point that Tim was trying to make was, hey, prior to season 1, we had actually talked about that you wouldn't have any Renown progress carryover. You would have to go find the altars of Lilith. You would have to go clear the Fog of War. Like the original plan when launching the game, or prior to launching the game, the original plan was that there was no transition of state from Eternal Realm to Seasonal Realm as part of this. And so hearing the player feedback as we talked about seasons and hearing the response that we got about what, I have to find all the altars again, what, I have to clear the map again, and wanting to make sure that we were listening to the players, we put in a system that allowed us to do that, but it is not the most smoothest, most sophisticated, because we were doing it under very tight time constraints as quickly as possible.
Hey, did you want it done?
Yeah,
did you want it done?
It's
the answer is
I'm
yes.
just saying, like that wasn't the design from the start was not to do this.
Right.
Log in a character on the 18th and make it pass.
Yeah,
That's what we had to do to make it happen for season 1.
And this was based off of obviously player feedback that we've gotten since launch. So this is us implementing it quickly to address the feedback that you guys have been giving. And then on top of that, I like a huge shout out to our engineers for getting this all implemented.
So it's our fault.
Before we actually jump into the season.
Much like the Nightmare Dungeon teleport,
Exactly.
like miracles can happen and very quickly. So
A lot of these actually end up with us going to an engineer and asking how long it would take to do it, and the first answer is to do it right.
First answer is
that's
they
very big
cry.
number.
Yeah.
And then there's like, okay, well, what about to make it work right now? And always, if you told me you wanted to do this X months ago, I could have done it way easier because we implemented it completely differently.
If only we had all of these
but sometimes
closed betas
the fact that you have to
and
log in
betas
to get the
where
progress
people gave
propagated,
this
we
feedback.
would have made it a smoother version
If
if we
only.
knew months
Okay.
ago.
All right.
but-
Look. All right. Like zoom in on me. Zoom in on me.
Come closer.
Let's do that. Okay. It's not going to happen. There it is. Okay. Yeah. All right. It's a live game. We know we need to It's a live game. We know we are looking at trying to make improvements based on the feedback that we're getting from players. We're playing the game ourselves, so we're seeing how everything is really feeling as it's all coming together with a giant audience of players playing and enjoying the game. We want to make sure that we are making the right changes as quickly as we can for the community. Some of those things are a lot harder than others. But like all the feedback, like Adam, you called out some things really early on at the program. Like we're hearing feedback about this and this, and like inventory space. We talked about gems last time and things we want to do there. We're trying to move very quickly in a lot of these things. Some of them are a lot more challenging technically to do than others, but we are rapidly moving on as many changes as we can because we are fervently trying to make the very best version of Diablo 4 possible in the fastest time frame that we can to deliver to the player base. Because we're players too. We also want the same things. So just know that we're working hard. We care deeply. We love our engineers and our designers and our producers, and the staff's been helping with like all of like the hotfix and everything else. We are trying to make sure that we are delivering a really, really high quality experience to players on a regular basis. So just stick with us. Keep giving us that feedback. We're going to keep making adjustments as we go between seasons and other updates.
I can attest that whenever Joe would like to make a change based on feedback he's seen from reading it wherever he reads it, the first version is always, can we do this immediately? That is always the first request. Never like, hey, let's get this in eventually. When it makes sense and when it's comfortable. No, it's always, could we do this right now? Is it possible for us to do this right now?
Well,
so
I want to
that's the first version.
I want to move the Overton window where I just expect everything to be done in 6 seconds.
But this is the thing about about doing it safely. Like, I think one of the sort of the junior mistake some people can make is this idea of like time is only what it takes to implement, and it's not. It's time is also what it takes to test and make sure that it's robust and stable. And so that's one of the things that like when you look at we have a follow the sun QA organization around the world, and that's what allows us to do, I don't know, we're up to 15, 16 hot fixes or more now.
Yeah.
And our big client patches is that ability of not only can we get we have some heroic engineers who can turn stuff around very quickly, but we also have some heroic QA teams around the world who are helping us make sure that when we make these changes, we're doing it in a safe way. So, but I appreciate your patience on that. And so this is exciting. Season 1, Season of the Malignant.
Yes, it's finally here.
Yes. Sounds like a kid trying to explain why he didn't do his homework. He's like,
again,
technically, Mom, you took me to get ice cream, and then I got a sugar rush, and I was too hyper.
For Diablo 4. That will contain all the,
and then I
the
crashed.
changes that will be coming in with Season 1.
And you said do your homework.
If Tiffany Watt were here, who was on our campfire chat before,
yep.
She categorized our 103 patch as chonky.
Right.
I will categorize, in Tiffany Watt's words, as super chonky for Season 1. It actually is our largest, or chonkster, as Tim called it. I think we were chonkers. So we're going to pull up the Wikipedia entry and actually go through it, the history of chonkers. But it is very big. So we will have notes up for that. And again, players can prepare for Season 1 by completing the campaign for sure.
The campaign,
and making sure,
Fog of War.
clear Fog of War, discover the map, and of course get all your altars. So lots to come for Diablo 4. And then again, we also have just more improvements that will be in that patch. What class our balance changes to bug fixes to you name it. I can go on. There's even some reward changes coming for some Nightmare and Helltide related activities as well, some endgame activities, because I've been hearing some feedback regarding hey, it would be great if we can get maybe better rewards with some of these activities, and so I know some of those changes are coming in that actual update as well. But I know we want to do Q&A.
We do.
And this is a live stream, by the way.
Yeah.
So I know we get sometimes people are like, I don't know if this is live. No, this is totally live. So we're actually going to be bringing in, we're actually going to kick off Rod because we're done with him. No, I'm just kidding. Rod is actually just
going to go and annoy you from the side.
I know. It's the worst. Rod's going to jump over here. We're actually going to bring back in Chris and Ryan from the Immortal team. Who will be jumping in here.
I think you're supposed to open that chair. I didn't do my job.
Rod
I didn't do my job.
Rod had one job and failed to do it.
I failed to open the chair.
So we're going to bring these guys in. I know we have questions queued up from different people in Twitch chat. So if you guys have questions, of course, feel free to drop in questions
Chris
and everything.
Is not quite in. You need to switch clearly.
Oh, I need to scooch too, because I think I want to give a shout out to. And I have a quick question. Any updates around, this is for D4 specifically, any updates around respeccing characters?
Yeah, so right now I think that there's a few different concerns we're hearing from the community. There's the general cost of respeccing characters, and then there is at various stages of the game. And then there is the actual experience of respeccing a character, particularly when you're deeper into the Paragon system. Like that takes a lot of effort. So we have longer-term plans on the user experience side, like on the menu side. Things we want to do to improve the flow of allowing players to respect their characters. These are things we're actively investigating. We have designs for things we're looking to add into seasons in the future, but we don't have a date that we're committing to today for that. And in terms of the actual price of that, we're evaluating things on like the gold economy, and we're taking a look at like what players are doing on a regular basis. We're not making any fundamental structural changes today at this time, but we are, because we're satisfied with where things feel like in the 1 to 50. One thing we will be adding, though, is as part of seasons, there is now a new reward that you can collect as you're going through the season journey at the end of each season, called the Scroll of Amnesia, which once you collect a Scroll of Amnesia, you can use that one time to basically reset the entirety of a character all in one go for no gold cost at all.
That's what everybody wants! Just do it with a gold cost! That is the button! Just make that a button and then have it just add the gold cost stuff! What do you mean there's no long-term plans yet? That's what we want! We literally just want to be able to respect the character with a button that is that. We have to go through the whole season journey to get the button one time. Oh, God.
So these are going to be like pretty fun things to bring back with you to the Eternal Realm if you want to use for future playthroughs or for that character or another character. So we want to make sure that we're like slowly adding a few of these as the players progressing through the experience. Kind of make that a little bit easier for players to go through.
And that Scroll of Amnesia is everything. It's all your skills, all your Paragon, everything goes to zero.
Yeah.
That's it. Yes.
Awesome.
That's what we want.
For Immortal, we have a question from, I'm reading everyone's names, Pure 13th. So, and of course, you can play through the campaign.
47.
Which is on July, and added to the Eternal Realm after the season ends.
We're talking about anyway. So yes, I should probably be more prepared, but here we go. That's your design over.
Question from Fig Larna.
You committed to saying the names.
I know I did.
We don't want anyone to suggest that these are not good questions.
Yeah, from Fig Larna. Will seasonal mechanics be added to the Eternal Realm after the season ends? I think that's something we didn't actually clarify fairly well.
That is a great question that actually gets asked internally as well a lot. Like, hey, this is awesome. Are we going to keep it around forever? Initially, no. Like, initially, the version of the Malignant mechanics that you're seeing are not planned to show up in the Eternal Realm. However, we are reserving the right as developers that if we see something cool and we think, wow, this is just fantastic, this should just be part of the game, that we will just make it part of the game. So it is absolutely an option. Some mechanics you might see in future seasons might be that way right away. We might be planning that, hey, this will show up in Eternal Realm right away. Others will evaluate them as we play them and then see if this is working really well. This is something that we want to integrate with the Eternal version of the game.
Yeah, I want to stay on this just 1 second longer. That's not to suggest that we're not going to be, as part of seasons, intentionally using those update opportunities to create content for the base game, like stuff that will persist beyond the end of the season. But we really do want to hone in on the idea that we're like, Malignant Hearts are very powerful, as we talked about before. They're really, really cool. They're very exciting. We can't add something exciting like that every season if it's expected to all last, because the game's going to be a complete mess.
Right.
So we're not going to do that.
Taking a shot at PoE.
What we end up needing to do is all of those things would be extremely incremental in terms of what they offer to the players over the course of time. And it would make the game extraordinarily dense in terms of what the players expected to do on a regular basis.
And to understand.
We know that there's opportunities to extend things like add more endgame features. We know that there's more content that we want to add to the game in general that like everybody's going to need forever, and we're going to be looking at those opportunities as we go. But things like Malignant Hearts, we don't want to have something of that size in Season 1, then add something of similar size in Season 2, and then Season 3 and Season 4, because the game is going to get extremely dense.
Oops.
Things away, introduce new ideas.
Now, I mean, a question I have is, at the end of a season, I'm going to have a character that has a Malignant Heart socketed in all of my jewelry. And that character is going to push to the Eternal Realm. So I guess the power from it is pushing over and all the hearts, but you're just not going and actually killing for the hearts.
Is having known what worked really, really well with Malignant Hearts and what stuff we could maybe have improved upon, we get to take all those ideas forward.
It's also part of the cool factor of the season is that when you're going in, these Malignant Hearts, it's there for the season. So even, let's take the...
like season rune words in Diablo 2 it seems. Unless the hearts just disappear and the socket becomes normal, but that could get messy, I feel like, when you start going into future seasons if there's other things.
Say doesn't like to play alts except of the same class. I just love playing Barbarian, and I have 3 different.
From the site Q&A. The character in progress, the character is transferred to the Eternal Realm. You can play this character whenever you want in the Eternal Realm. Specific season-only features will no longer be accessible. For example, at the end of Season 1, Malignant Hearts will disappear and be unslotted from jewelry at the end of the season. Wow, so they really are just going to fully erase it. That's interesting and could make your build, like, suck again.
Different Barbarians already on Eternal because
Well,
it's
if you're
the
a big
perfect
rogue
class.
player and all you play is rogues and all you do is build rogues,
There might be a lot of those too. But let's say a Barbarian, that's my hypothetical, I'm sticking with it. So I'm a Barbarian lover and I've made all these Barbarians. Season 1 is still an exciting time to make a new Barbarian because we have all of these new Malignant powers that allow you to make radically new builds that are completely different from Barbarians you played in the past. Your endgame is going to be very different.
But then in the Eternal Realm, it's going to suck
away
again.
if we just say, like, oh, all of these powers just exist in the game forever. The whole idea is that, no, every season is a fresh new experience that gives you builds that did not exist previously. So the idea is some of that stuff is always designed to go away.
Yeah.
So Joe, I mean, one of the things.
Bro, people are going to be so mad when their characters shift over to Eternal Realm and it just unsockets it and removes the power. I don't think they realize how ticked off people are going to be when they're like, this one Malignant power allowed this build to work and now it doesn't. I think they're going to change that. Who cares about Eternal Realm? A lot of people will care about Eternal Realm.
Things.
This is Rod off camera speaking.
Rod camera. Hey,
Yeah.
voice
All
guy.
right.
Joe,
Yes.
maybe speak to the fact that everybody starts at the same place of the season is one of the benefits, so that people aren't like a year behind when they go to play Season 4.
Yeah, that's an important part of this as well. One of the reasons we really like the idea of letting players start back fresh and have like an economy reset, players really jumping back in the experience at level 1 with characters, is it allows us to focus on making sure the entirety of that journey is really engaging and exciting for players to go through. And we want to make sure, like by the end of the first session, for example, like you're getting exposed to like the new features and content available that we're introducing in that season. That everything feels like it's balanced in such a way that players can really enjoy the new things that we're adding in the way that they're kind of intelligently mixed with the rest of the features in the game itself. So that we think of that experience is part of what makes a Diablo game anyways, like making a new character, getting those item drops, like building up towards the end. With regards to like the way that we decided to conduct our efforts in seasons for Diablo 4, we think this is a really, really like the prime example of the way that we can make this work.
But I wanted you to hit on the point, the fact that like, if somebody buys the game.
Yeah. They're not like fundamentally behind.
Yeah, if somebody,
before.
like, I'm gonna mess with the camera people. Can you?
Yeah.
You can't even do it.
They're really trying to explain what seasons are and the benefits.
Oh, hey, what's going on? The notion of together, and so as opposed to
make sure that
we know what a season is.
Great time to come back, particularly.
Yeah, so I'm between characters. So for instance, like for Diablo Immortal, we'll ask this specifically for Diablo Immortal, and then we'll talk about Diablo 4. But in regards to transferring cosmetics, like if you ended up buying
Diablo
a cosmetic in Diablo Immortal, does that actually also appear on the Blood Knight?
So cosmetics.
Let's see, rather than just to the
To it forever is the current functionality.
nice.
I shouldn't say it that way. It sounds like we're going to change it.
yeah,
That
don't
is
use the word
functionality.
forever ever.
Yeah.
So.
Let's see. Nightmare. This is from Kincho Kimo. This is Nightmare teleport was great, but why can't we just teleport right into dungeons rather than just to the entrance? So this one I think is interesting because Nightmare, we obviously incorporated the teleport here in 103. It was another thing that we had talked about where it was community feedback that we had gotten, and the team jumped on it really quickly to implement it in a specific way. We have been seeing a lot of feedback in regards to players having to teleport outside of dungeons and kind of go through like a couple load screens. It was a quick, implementation from the team and everything. So I know it's something that we've been hearing from our side, and it's something that we're going to be looking at more here in the future for optimizing and making sure that we can implement maybe in a better way from some of the features that we've been just kind of adding in really quickly. On Immortal, we have Was there some sort of Castlevania inspiration with the Blood Knight?
For us is
We have, will you guys be nerfing or buffing in the middle of seasons, or will you be making changes after the season starts?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So,
this is from Godic, by the way. So there you go.
Okay,
I just wanted
this
to.
is a real person. So yes, this is a good question. So we made a number of adjustments during the preseason period to make sure that we're bringing some builds back into where we expect them to be functionally and performance-wise. When we go into the season release, we do want to create structured moments in time that we're going to be talking about, I think, more in future streams when we expect like buffs and nerfs to happen. So we have like a regular set of like patches that are going to be occurring after the season is released, where we have like a better schedule like in cadence when we're talking about these things. We really want to try to reserve like big nerfs and big buffs for only like extreme outlier cases, and things were like really damaging the end game experience for a number of players. So we want to try to keep that more constrained, and we also want to have just fewer general like off cycle balance updates and things. So we're kind of keeping things more into this weekly cadence like we talked about.
So yeah, things will be pretty stable throughout the course of the season, unless, if one of the Malignant powers, I know I've joked about them being broken, but if the zone lights on fire when you use a Malignant power, we're going to patch that. But otherwise, we're going to try and keep things stable.
I know we're running close on time because we were planning on this stream to be 90 minutes, and we're 1 minute away. So I'm going to lightning off a few questions. A big question within chat is obviously about stash space, which is something that we kind of just talked about a little bit earlier.
I'll say it real quickly though, like we definitely hear everybody about this. We are talking a lot about what we need to do with this. We've got good plans of things we can do to improve the situation. I know it's frustrating to hear me say like, what you were able to do this, like you could be able to do like nightmare dungeons this quickly, but like the reality is like we are moving really quickly on this, and we're going to be trying to provide more space in the future, figuring out how like we're going to get that accomplished.
Yeah, and also one thing to note is I know we talked about during campfire chats about how gems and so forth were going to be part of the materials in the future. So I know when that hits, like that will obviously free up a lot of stash space.
There's lots of different ways to kind of
like
slice away at this problem. That's like an example of what we're trying to do to start trying to mitigate this a bit.
And then Jim, the Q guy, asked how much time between seasons. He still wants to level up his main. So in between seasons, obviously, there is. We had talked about seasons lasting 3 months.
It's a minimum of 12 weeks. Sometimes it might be a little longer, but you'll always have at least 12 weeks to complete your season.
Correct. Yeah. So
sometimes
you guys will hear
a little bit longer.
Right? Yeah. So you guys will hear like no matter what within or like once we hit that 3 month period, you'll start to hear news about the next season actually hitting and everything like that. And then this one, I guess for Rod, are there any plans on new classes coming to Diablo 4? We've just heard about the Blood Knight, so they're
we have nothing to announce at this time.
Oh wow, that was very strange.
Yeah, Rod sitting off camera can answer that perfectly. So yeah, that I think we're gonna wrap it here for today. Obviously, we talked a lot about all the stuff with Diablo Immortal for the Blood.
All right, let's digest a little bit. We'll cap this and then we'll do a review video piece of it all. So there's a Blood Knight now in Diablo Immortal for the Diablo Immortal fans. The Diablo Immortal developer, I love. I'm not gonna lie, dude had so much passion. We're getting season 1. It's season of the Malignant. Essentially zombies, right? They said not zombies, but kind of zombies. You're going, and sometimes you'll come across an elite monster, and the monster will have a malignant heart, and then you kill it, and then you kill it again. It comes back a little stronger, and you kill it again, and then you get a jewel, right? A caged heart. But basically just like a stronger jewel that has what looks like to me, sorry, I'm bouncing the camera, another legendary aspect in a way, right? So you're just going to have 3 more legendary aspects for your builds that you're going to put in the amulet and in your rings. but they have to color code. There's 3 colors. Don't know where we've seen that before. And you have to color code the gem to the cage heart to the socket. Yeah, it feels a little bit like Abyss League to me. Abyss had more though, because you had like the items as well with the abyssal sockets and things, and this is just like all rings and amulets are just going to have an infested socket, and then you're just going to put that in there. There's also Halls of the Malignant, which is a new zone. Seems like a new dungeon that you're going to go in if you want to target farm more. And then you have something with a V. Not vulnerable. I forget what the piece is. What the word is. Invoker. Thank you. It's an I, but it has a V. You can do Invoker to essentially go after a specific color. So you can go in and then fight. It seemed like they were just applying it to the dungeon based on what we saw. Maybe I'm misunderstanding that, but it seemed like you're just like applying that, and then at the end when you fight the boss, you're just choosing if you want it to be, like a red boss or a blue boss, and then it'll drop a gem of that color. Or a caged heart, I should say, I suppose, of that color, which then you can put into your gear. That pretty much covered most of what we're getting there. It didn't really seem like they were going to be adding much more. Beyond that, they talked about the season journey and the battle pass. The battle pass still has the pay to win if you're racing to level 100, or otherwise no, right? I mean, again, it's like, is somebody getting 12% more experience a little bit faster something that you really care about? Again, 99.9% of people aren't going to care whatsoever. But if you're on the race to level 100, that is now required that you will buy the tier skips. Because 12% experience is a lot of experience, and I'm pretty certain the grind to level 100 is not going to be most optimal going and collecting 15 Galavine and going and doing a world event and going and doing all the things you need to level up your battle pass. So I believe Race to World 100 is still going to be, or is now officially going to be, pay to win. Because you will need to buy all of that, or at least buy up to the point where you're going to use enough elixirs or enough ashes to get the experience boost. Yeah, just wanted to cover that. They're adding in the season journey there, and at the end you get a scroll of amnesia, which allows you to reset all of your paragon and skill points with one click of a button. But they do not have a long-term plan yet for implementing a button that will allow you to respec your paragon and skill points that cost gold, because they can't figure out how to do that, maybe. Or they need to figure out what piece there. It's kind of funny. They said increasing stash and inventory maybe in the future. They're still figuring that piece out, I think. Again, we know that gems are moving to materials tab in season 2. Yeah, and there'll be a new season piece there. So that's that. I'm trying to think if there was anything else I'm missing. But I think that covers most of what they said. And then they said, they hear a lot of the feedback, but it takes time for a lot of it. Game's been out for 5 weeks, all of that. There's going to be a new boss. We don't know what the boss is. And some new legendaries and uniques. But they gave us nothing beyond that. So we don't know what those legendary aspects are going to be. We don't know what the unique items are going to be. rarity of them. Are they going to be as rare as Shaco Grandfather? Are they just going to be like for leveling up? Are they going to be endgame ones? We did not get any of that. So hopefully we can learn some more about that in the future. Anyways, I will do a review piece video of it here. Altars and areas discovered carrying to seasonal characters, but you have to log in to do so. That's right. Otherwise, mwah. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget to like and subscribe, YouTube. Peace, everybody. All right. Blog post is more informative. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Wow, there's way more information in this. Okay. And so there's 32 Malignant Hearts across 4 categories that provide new unique bonuses. As you encounter more, the strength of them will level up. Malignant Tunnels is the dungeon. You go there. Oh, and here, Varshan the Consumed is the newest boss battle. Okay. Seasonal characters. That's all there. Belief behind seasons. Earn rewards of season journey and battle pass. New hellish looks from the shop. Okay, there's actually not much more there, but they do just give a little bit more information on Malignants right there. Okay, so now I'll say goodbye to YouTube. I'll leave this in for you guys because that is like something. So it seems like there's 4 categories. There's 8 in each category. So 3 of them will be colored, and then or 8 of them for each of them will have 1 color, and then 8 of them will go in any socket, it seems like. Okay. Let's